tough guys, breaking down barriers. We aim for the skies, into the octagon like a warrior stand. Train blows, taking hits as I command. The art of combat, I'm ready to go. Submission, knockout, that's how I flow. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling with my golden octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling like a golden octagon. The stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D Rose.
And what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. My name is Matt. D Rose is right over there on that side of the screen. As you see, not as cool as a setup as usual. I do apologize, but it is what it is. I got the blue tape up there, ready to be painted though. In the middle of getting my place ready to sell and ready to move. So with that being said, appreciate you guys for still stopping by here, hanging out with us right over here on the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast, number 169. Nice. How you doing this week, D-Rose?
Very on the nose, but no, everything's been great this week, man. Works has been busy, but obviously a good thing. Got to be selling these cars, be making some money, and week as a whole has been great. The fight card this past week, I would say was pretty solid from top to bottom. I think had some storylines to come out, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty good card this past weekend. But the weekend coming up, boys, this is gonna be a rough one this weekend. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, and just looking forward to what we have on today's show. We got the UFC Abu Dhabi recap. As D-Rose said, a few things to talk about from this past weekend. Unfortunately, I got to eat beans this week. D-Rose, we're just like alternating clean sweeps now. Like, you clean sweep me, I clean sweep you, you clean sweep me back. You know what's happening this upcoming week, right? With this terrible card, clean sweep coming your way.
No, we're fighting against it, man. I got to get a streak going, man. I can't get more than I had at the beginning of the year. I was rolling, and it seems like now I can't get any more than 2 wins, and then I lose another 4. So yeah, I gotta get some consistency here going. So we're gonna lock in with the picks this weekend.
All right, and then we got some UFC news and fight announcements to go over, and then we'll go over our UFC Vegas 108 Tatsuro Taira versus what is his name? Hung Sung Park, I believe that's his name, right? Hung Sung Park. Our preview and our picks for this upcoming weekend's fights, and we'll close out the show with the ever loving fisting of the week, D-Rose. It crashed on us last week, man. It crashed on us for the second time ever. It crashed on us. Billy Ray Goff and now Carlos Leal, dude, are the two fistings that end up getting fisted themselves, man.
Yeah, that was rough. And the worst part was we were on a roll. We were picking dogs. Like we were cashing in on that thing. So, but I think we should be able to lock in on one this weekend. I think we're going to get the ball rolling again.
All right. Let's see if we can agree on something. Let's shout out the chat real quick before we get in the show. We got Antoine here. What's going on, Antoine? We got Austin in here. Happy Wednesday, brother. How you doing? We got David here letting us know his balls are hot. We got Montana Chi in here.
Derek
What's
Lewis?
going on? We got Montana Chi in here. What's going on? Antoine want to know. Hope you boys are blessed. How was the weekend? Yeah, not too bad. Just crazy busy on my end. How about you, D-Rose?
Yeah, no, pretty much the same. Try to relax when you can, but even when you want to relax, you're still kind of running around and always doing some tidy stuff around the house, mowing grass or whatever the case may be.
Wow. All right. Jason Herzog says, "Move, fighter." Anyway, also crazy news in sports: Shannon Sharp and Gilbert Arenas. Yeah, I saw that earlier, dude. That was wild. Did you see that?
I did not see what happened.
Yeah, I saw like that. Like the Gilbert Arenas was like has like something to do with like owning some sort of like betting group or something like that. Like I don't know, and I'm not sure what else happened to Shannon Sharp. He
Like
almost
James
kinda like
Krause
something.
type stuff. Like he has his own like betting ring where people are paying
I
him for
think
picks.
so. No, not that. Like more of he's betting for. I'm not 100% sure on the on the details, but I know it has something to do with gambling for sure. And then I'm not sure
Yeah.
about the
Interesting.
yeah, I'm not sure about Shannon Sharp, but he's into something like every week now at this point. Dave says, "I'm happy, thank you." Exactly. And Antoine saying, "Congrats on the move." Yeah, not yet. Shannon. I'm not sure what you're saying, Montana Tree. The Gilbert thing was connected to the Israel mafia. What the hell? That's crazy. Anyway, if they was at Diddy parties, wouldn't surprise me. High stakes poker business. If you watch news reports, all the dudes are foreign and rich. Oh wow! So some kind of like gambling ring. Wild, dude. Wild, crazy world of sports outside of UFC. Really, he faces 5 years in prison. Shannon got fired today. Got you. All right, heroes. Well, back to the MMA news. Pretty much what we're here to talk about. We got UFC Abu Dhabi recap. So what I will do is I'll go ahead and just pull it up. I'll share the screen and we can pull it. Let me scoot my computer up so it stops hitting that. Anyway, we'll start off at the top of the card and just kind of run through it. So the main event this past weekend was Rob Whittaker versus Ranier de Ritter. Did we both pick Rob Whittaker or did you go Ranier de Ritter? I mean, did you go?
I went Rob Whittaker. I honestly thought you went to Ritter.
Yeah, I don't know where my little thing is at. Here it is. That's what I meant. So I went RDR. You went Rob. I picked RDR third
I went
round.
Rob.
So I keep saying Rob when I am like meaning to say RDR. So I went RDR third round sub, and that didn't happen. But what did happen was RDR is nasty with his knees now. In his past two fights, he's like kind of using his size and length to either hang on you or just bust you up with these like body knees, dude. He has now done it to Bo Nickel, finished him, but he was tearing Rob up with those knees. He ends up winning via decision. I saw a little bit of controversy, man, that a few people thought Rob won. I think you may be one of those people. I honestly didn't see the controversy. I thought that was a clear RDR win, but I guess that was my pick from the beginning. No disrespect to Rob, tough fighter. It was a good fight, close fight, but I just thought RDR won, man. So I guess what's your thoughts on the main event this past weekend?
Yeah, it was a good fight, and I did think that it was a close fight. It had a lot of moments, back and forth. I thought Rob For me, I thought Rob won the first 2 rounds. I thought Rob won round 1 and round 3. I thought RDR won round 2 and round 4, and I really think it came down to round 5. But that round 3 was absolutely nuts when RDR was kind of spamming them knees and was kind of lighting Rob up, and then Rob just loaded up with that right hand and spun RDR's head like it was like a freaking corkscrew. Like it just spun around. RDR was doing everything he could, was even putting his fingers in the glove to try to, survive, did as much as he could. And he did, to his credit, and came back and fought really hard. So that awkward style that RDR has, it is funny. It's funny to watch just because he doesn't fight like any traditional fighter, but he just has his own style and it's very effective. And he's only lost 2 fights in his career. He's a really good fighter, and he's proven that coming over from 1 as a double champ that he's serious. He's a serious contender at 185. I thought the 5th round for this fight, I thought it could have went either way. I thought Rob did more damage on the feet, but I guess where still most of the time Rob was backing up, and it's hard to win a fight in the judge's eyes when you're backing up a lot, just because RDR's pressure was just so much. And I think that's what ultimately got RDR to win.
Yeah. Anton wants to know if you got off in time to watch the full fight, D-Rose.
Yeah, I did get off work to watch that fight. So I was able to watch that fight with no bothers or anything like that. But most of the card I was at work, so I had to go back and watch some of the fights, but was able to watch all the fights.
And does he get the loser of Kaio versus Nasruddin? I'll just say this, dude. If by some chance Jarikus is able to beat Hamza in a few weeks, dude, I cannot wait for the Jarikus versus RDR with Jason Herzog as the referee, like Three Stooges fight of the night, dude. Just the sound the whole time is just gonna be like that clown music. It's like like both dudes just goofy as fuck, just throwing from their hips, and Jason Herzog refusing to stop it, dude. I cannot wait for that. I need that fight to happen at this point, dude. Give me Jarikus versus RDR with Jason Herzog as the referee, dude. Give me that fight. Anyway, anything else?
But honestly, hey, another fight. I don't think the loser of that fight. Him and Palacasa, RDR and Palacasa were talking smack, going back and forth. And RDR even said, like, hey, if you're about it, hey, see me at MSG in November. So, RDR seems to be down. I mean, I personally think that he's still going to need one more fight before the title, but you are right. If the UFC was just like, screw it, we'll give RDR a shot against Jarikus. If Jarikus beats Hamzat, I'm definitely in for it. 100%.
I need it. All right. Co-main event this past weekend, D-Rose, was Petr Yan versus Marcus McGee. Good fight, but Petr Yan was just clearly like the better fighter there. Anything here?
Yeah, I mean, just Petr Yan just showing, the consistency. I thought Marcus McGee, he looked well, in the fight. I thought he won the first round. I thought he did do a little bit more damage, but, kind of it's the same thing I said in the Rob and RDR fight for this one as well. It's going to be hard to win the fight going backwards the whole time. And, for the second round on, Marcus McGee was just, he couldn't really do too much to keep Petr Yan off of him. Even if you go, because I think on ESPN stats had Marcus McGee actually landing more, I think, strikes overall, but it was just kind of like this pop shots to try to keep Petr Yan away from him, and Yan was just landing big shots. So good. It was a good win for Yan to get back on the horse, and I think he's put himself in a position now to where I think the winner of Sandhagen and Merab, he's going to fight next.
Yeah, man. Does the UFC title make Ranier one of the best middleweights in MMA history? That's a little quick. That's a little quick, Anton. Do you think Petr has a chance against Merab? No. Nope.
And this is coming from a guy who picked him in their first fight. Yeah, Murad's just, and I've never seen Peter Yan so tired in a fight before. And that fight wasn't that long ago. And I still think that, Peter Yan is a good fighter, but Murad's even getting better as he's getting going. So, yeah, I still think it's a tough matchup for Yan no matter what.
Yeah, man. And moving on down, dude, we got Share Bullet versus Power Bar Marc-Andre Barrios. Yeah, man, I was really hoping that, Share Bullet was going to knock out Power Bar. He has been snoozed a few times going forward. Share Bullet does fight very well going back. But what I didn't take into account was the second round Marc-Andre Barrios landing the bazooka right in Share Bullet's face, dude. Shifted his nose completely right, dude. We know Share Bullet has a chin, dude, and he is tough now. We just know that he basically can be outpointed if there's someone that's a better, Taekwondo fighter than he is. And I truly think he could still be taken down. So I just think UFC is just going to continue to keep him as their, one-eyed, red-haired Abu Dhabi can crusher and just keep fighting like super low-level middleweights over there in Abu Dhabi. Anything here?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just nail it, just as far as how it is with Share Bullet at this point. I think it was a good fight, good scrap, and as you said, that bomb that Power Bar landed on to smash the nose. I mean, I you got to give Share Bullet credit because a lot of people said in that Gaethje and Max Holloway fight, oh, well, that fight changed when Max broke his nose, and Share Bullet could have easily just like, save it for another day. But no, he stayed in there, stayed in the fight, and was able to land big shots there in the second and third round, and was really able to kind of pull away there at the end. But I am with you. I just don't really. He still just doesn't wow me, and I guess that was my big thing. With him, him coming over. I remember one of the rumored fights, and I've probably talked about this before, but I'm still going to talk about it because it just blows my mind. He was rumored when he was first coming over to the UFC that his first fight was going to be against Derek Brunson. And that was at the time when Derek Brunson had beaten guys like Kevin Holland, Edmund Shabazian, and guys like that. Like, dude, Derek Brunson would have ate his lunch, like, if they had a fight, just because he had zero takedown defense. And Derek Brunson would have just straight up tackled him and ground and pounded him. I still don't think Share Bullet's that good. If he fights any type of top tier competition, I just don't see it going well for him. But fighting these cans, I mean, I guess if that's what gets the Muslim crowd going, cool. But I'm not really here for it, to be honest.
That's fair, man. That is fair. Yeah, they're going to keep him over there and not really going to do much else. A different one that we picked on, we picked different on a few. The first one that mattered that we picked on was Yan versus McGee, and I went Yan. I mean, why am I getting this wrong today? I went McGee, you went Yan. The second one that we picked different on was Jose Ochoa versus Asu Amabayev. I was thinking Ochoa was at some point going to land the knockout shot on Asu Amabayev because he just seems uncomfortable on the feet. But what really happened was Asu Amabayev pretty much just got the takedown all 3 rounds. If at any point it was on the feet, there was enough takedown threats to where Jose Ochoa couldn't really throw, man. I'm not mad at him because he was trying, but Asu just a good wrestler, and I'm assuming that's why you and everyone else that picked him picked him.
Yeah, that really is why I picked him, and to be honest, it really played out, kind of exactly how I thought it would, especially with Ochoa coming in on short notice. I will say that I think out of anybody on this card, I probably came away most impressed with Jose Ochoa out of anybody, because I think that Asu Amabayev, I think he is I don't know, he's not championship level. I don't think he's going to be a champ, but I think he's top 10 level in the flyweight division. He's a tough guy, and I think that Jose Ochoa coming in on short notice against a guy like that, just going to be tough, and a good wrestler like that. but I do think Ochoa looked good. You know, he was throwing bombs, did not quit when he was getting taken down, always trying to scramble. There were moments where he was getting held down, you know, and Ochoa or Osu Amabayev was getting some ground and pound going. But then eventually, Jose Ochoa ended up getting back up on his feet and was able to get back in the fight. So the dude did not quit on himself, and I was really impressed with Jose Ochoa, even in a loss, man. That dude, he's going to be good, man.
Yeah, man. I agree. So moving on, or let's go to the chat real quick. Do they ever get him in the I don't think they ever get him in the US, Antoine, because I don't think any commission is gonna approve him to fight in the US.
And I don't think the UFC really cares to, because why do you, I guess, is there a dire need for him to come over to the States? Like, if it was, you know, if he had like such a bigger following, maybe, but you know, he's big amongst the MMA world, but it's not like he's like a breakthrough type fighter. So, you know, if you bring him over here, you're going to put him in Apex? I mean, that's dumb. I mean, just go ahead and keep him over there where you can at least have him fight in front of a crowd.
Yeah. Dave, he did fight with one eye, but I think he's like told the story like before, like he was like basically like cheating like the whole like the vision test by like, you know, like asking him like his coach asking his coach what it was or like something like that, or he would or and his eye like at the point like wasn't like Shara Bullets is like it's clear that he's blind, as where like like Mike Bisping's got worse over time because of the Vitor head kick. So I guess it like slowly got worse like in the UFC, as where like Mike Bisping as where like Shara Bullet now like he like came into the UFC with like, you know, clearly a fucked up eye. What about you, Heroes?
Yeah, no, exactly that Bisping, he still had his real eye at that point, and it was still partially functional. It was functional enough to where, as you said, he was able to cheat on a lot of the eye tests as he's explained. So yeah, I do think that just a little bit different. This commissions are going to be a lot tighter on stuff like that now, you know, just as far as how advanced they've gotten as far as fighter health and fighter safety and stuff. So you got to take all that stuff into account as well.
Yeah. All right, moving on down to the last one that we picked different on that mattered at least was Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov. And in reality, I just picked this to go under because I was confident this was going under. I just picked the wrong side with our pick champs, man. Bogdan Guskov knocks out Nikita Krylov in the first round and then hops on the cage and has an aura moment with Walter Walker doing, you know, like the like the Asian kid on the fucking sled or the fucking boat, dude. That's fucking hilarious, man. Shout out the Russian Anthony Smith. Nikita Krylov cooked at this point, man. I don't know if he ever gets another win in the UFC. That's not a literal can. What's your thoughts on that fight, if anything?
Yeah, I think I'm all in on Bogdan, man. Like, I think I am. You know, I've been a fan. Dude, I have cashed on Bogdan Guskov against Zach Palga. I cashed on him against Brian Spann. And now I've cashed on with him now against Nikita Krylov. All his dogs getting the finish in the first or second round each time. I mean, he's fun, man. And as you said, kind of doing I saw where people were saying he was aura farming up there with Walter Walker, where they were doing the meme thing. So, and dude, that right hand, that thing was a piston, dude. Like, dude, he absolutely cracked Nikita Krylov, almost kind of like how Robert Whitaker ended up cracking Renier de Ritter. Ended up getting Krylov off 1 foot, but man, that was clean shot, clean ground and pound for the finish. And Bogdan Guskov, he's a fun fighter, man. kind of sounded like, I know the shout out sounded like you might be kind of coming over to the Bogdan side, but man, I think I'm all in, dude. He's a fun fighter.
Yeah, man. I don't know if I've picked him yet, if I'm gonna be honest, but he is fun. I just guess from what I saw before the UFC, dude, he just didn't look good. And in his first fight in the UFC, goes out there and gets submitted by none other than Volkan Oezdemir. Like, what the hell? Like, like this dude is ass. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't think he was good.
You gotta cut him the slack. It was short notice. But and hey, no time. Hey, he was on that no time business then. He was trying to get him out of there in no time.
Yeah. Do you think Nikita should retire at 33? He's taking so much damage. I know he has shoulder issues on both shoulders. So I don't know what's happening there.
Dude, he might be 33, but he's like 53 in fight years. Because, dude, he has been in the UFC since 1942. Like, that dude has been in the UFC forever. It's like, I don't understand how he has been in the UFC so long and has so many fights and is 33 years old. I need to see a birth certificate because that's a damn lie. He was not born in 1992. I refuse to believe that.
All right, there. Let's move to the prelims real quick. The main event of the prelims was Thug Nasty versus Saeed Nurmagomedov. Dude, that first round was scary because me and you both went Thug Nasty, Bryce Mitchell. I thought he might cook him and get him out of there in the third. That first round was real scary, but Bryce Mitchell does go on to win the fight via decision, and then he says in his post-fight, send him to Arkansas 2-3 years and forget.
Let's go. Standing up for the American wrestling. But to be fair, I mean, we know that Saeed isn't really the wrestler to begin with, but he did, Bryce Mitchell did get lit up with that knee in the first round. Let's not forget that. But he
said if he don't remember it didn't happen.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's kind of a good logic in a fight. I mean, hey, if you can't remember the shot, that's going to mentally keep you in the fight because you're like, hey, I don't have to be fearful of anything because I don't remember what just happened that almost knocked me out. So. Yeah, that's a good mantra for him going forward. But yeah, it was a gritty performance from Bryce Mitchell. I still don't think that he's going to really make any big noise down at 135. I do think that, there's going to be some guys who he can maybe take advantage of as far as, in the grappling department. But I just think as far as like maybe championship aspirations, I don't know if I quite see Bryce Mitchell making that championship run.
Yeah, he's gonna go find that one's past the ice wall, and then he might, David. He might, man. All right, let's run through like the rest of these real quick. D-Rose, our fisting of the week gets fisted himself. Muslim Salikov gets the first round knockout, but I don't hate Carlos Leal for it because that's the way you have to fight Muslim Salikov, dude, because if you give him range, he's going to spin an old kick your head off, dude. So it's like I don't hate Carlos Leal for, ooga booging him because that's kind of how Carlos Leal fights. But I just didn't expect old man Muslim Salikov to still have one-shot power left in his hands, man. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, the worst part was, so this fight was actually happening when I was at work, and I knew the fight was coming up, and I had it pulled up on my phone, but I ended up getting busy to where I had to end up like talking to a customer, so I ended up putting the phone in my pocket, and I accidentally ended up like locking it, so I was like, shit, I gotta pull up the fight, and so it, probably about a couple minutes have passed, but not too long, probably like 3-4 minutes.
Well, the fight was only 40 seconds.
And, see where we're at in the fight. And, I looked and I was like, is the fight over already? I looked and it was like 40 seconds, Muslim Salikov. I was like, dude, you got to be freaking kidding me, man. Because I had a couple bets with Carlos Leal. So, yeah, I was excited to try to see the fight. And then, of course, 40 seconds later and it's over. So I ended up going back and watching it. Obviously, not a lot to watch, but as far as everything else, dude, that right hand from Salikov, dude, that was so clean, man. The way he just pulled him in. Leal, he was, as you said, did the famous Gabe Green Ooga Booga. Maybe should have calmed down just a smidge, man, because as we see, Muslim Salikov still sharp, still knocking dudes out. I mean, what was it? Song Kanan in the fight before where he snoozed him with the head kick. Now snoozing Carlos Leal with the overhand right. At 41 years old, I mean, dude, he still looks sharp, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely nuts. I don't know if I had a parlay like this past weekend that did not have Carlos Leal in it. So after that, dude, I was just mad. Not gonna lie, dude, I was just mad. I was like, what an afternoon. Anyway, moving on down. Davy Grant defeats Damon Blackshear via decision, man. Davy Grant still at it. The old men are still at it this past weekend. It was a morning card, so, maybe the old men were just up earlier, getting that worm, as they say. Tabitha Ricci knocks out Amanda Hebus in the second round, dude. And then right after the fight, I actually messaged you this, dude. I was like, when's the last time Amanda won at 115, dude? It's been damn near forever, dude. And it's like when she's down here, she's just chinny. I just remember just famously like Marina Rodriguez like tripoding her after losing that entire first round, dude. She just comes out here, hits her with one shot, and then fucking puts her in a goddamn 3-point stance. Absolutely nuts. I don't really know where Amanda Hebus goes from here, so I guess what's your thoughts on the fight, and then where does Amanda Hebus go? Does she go back up to 125 and stay there, or is she going to try her hanging down at 115 again? Because I don't think you should get knocked out by Tabitha Ricci, man.
Yeah, I will say this is one I did have to go back and watch as well. I did miss this one live, but I thought the fight was, in the first round it was pretty competitive, and I thought that Amanda Hebus was looking good, and I actually thought she won the first round, but in the second round, Ricci was using her wrestling, but man, I will have to say that elbow was pretty. I saw KO TKO from Tabitha Ricci, so I'm thinking she might have hit her with like a combo or something like that and like knocked her down. But once I saw the elbow on the replay, that's like a one every 200 times that's going to land exactly the way it did. Like the point of Ricci's elbow landed in Hebus's eyeball. Like I believe they said it was a broken orbital bone. I'm not quite sure, but I mean, with the way that Ricci threw that elbow, I would not be surprised. Just the way that she kind of like arched it up the point to get it in the eye like that. That was a vicious shot from Ricci, and that was a good win for her. I think as far as Hebus, I think the worst part about 125 is that I think the competition's getting a little bit tougher at 125. I would say 125 is arguably the tougher the division. And,
sure.
I think, she's going to have a lot of the size advantage on chicks at 115. I think Hebus's biggest problem is that she doesn't commit to a weight class. Like she doesn't know.
Her biggest problem, she doesn't fucking move her head.
Yeah, and the imagination defense doesn't work, and it's not working. You're not blocking the shots. You're still getting cracked and still getting finished, man. So Hebus has been a fun fighter for a long time, man. But she's definitely in a rough spot.
Yeah, and making the walk, I don't even know if I can count the Pinheiro fight just because it's like all you have to do is just last to 7 minutes in the fight and then just walk forward and Pinheiro's done, dude. It's like all she's got's like 7 minutes and then she's like, get me out of here. I'm done. I know she hit her with the spinning wheel kick, but she was already gassed though. She still has many great wins. Yeah, I just know I think her size, she belongs at 115, but she can get cracked and she gets hurt at 115. I mean, she got hurt at 125 too, but man, I don't know if we ever see like Amanda Hebus, in a contender fight, maybe getting a title shot soon or anything like that.
Has Amanda Hebos and Jessica Andrade ever fought?
Dude, could you imagine what would happen to Amanda Hebus, man, if they haven't?
I mean, Hebos could tackle her. I mean, you never
tackle her. Is that you said? Tackle her?
It seems like Andrade is kind of, I don't know, her takedown defense. Obviously 125 is never the greatest, but
oh wow, dude, they actually. Oh wow, I was gonna say they actually did fight, but it was fucking someone that uploaded like a UFC 4 or 5 fight. Yeah, I don't think they ever fought, man. But I think that would be a banger. I would for sure take Jessica Andrade to snooze Amanda Hebus. So anyway, moving on down. Dude, Ibo Aslan, Billy Elkanah, dude. Did you go back to watch this one?
The worst part is, so I was actually watching the fight. And,
God.
Halfway
I was
going to
say
round,
don't. I was going to say
through
don't.
The second round, I knew Billy Elkanah already won the fight. I stopped watching. Like, I was like, this fight is absolute dog water. I don't care who wins this fight. And, this fight can kiss my ass. Ibo Aslan, capital ASS. I know his ass line chat on everybody's parlay. Yeah, just absolutely terrible, dude.
Yeah. And then she's a solid fighter, Antoine. I just don't know. I just pick against her more than I, pick her. Anyway, and then at the end of that fight, D Rose, Ibo Aslan was giving his best Manel Cop impression, like wondering why he lost that fight. It's like, what do you mean? You guys both just went out there and fucking stared at each other for fucking 15 minutes. How can you be surprised when you didn't win? I don't know, man. And the Ibo, another one that fucked me. Yeah, me too, Dave. Me too. It's like we kind of knew that Billy Elkanah wasn't UFC level, I guess, and then Ibo Aslan just kind of refused to go out there and fucking throw anything. A dude online by 80K on Billy got to pay off 200K. Man, I wish I had 80K to bet, man. I'd just fucking pay off all my goddamn bills. That's what I would do. Anyway, what's your thoughts on Ibo? Wait, I already asked you that. Moving on down to the Moo fighter. Steve DeWin sets a record for knockdowns in a fight. Dude, this fight goes 2 rounds, dude. Full 2 rounds, and is stopped between 2 and 3 because the swelling on Muhammad Yaya's face. It comes out after that he has no fractures. He was just swollen, dude. I actually have this in the thumbnail, dude, because I thought it was funny. It's kind of small, so you really can't see it there. But at the bottom, you see just everyone, RDR, the Pirate, and Steve DeWin, all summoning Muhammad Yahya right here, laying at the bottom in the middle, dude. I don't know if you can see it. Do you see the small Steve DeWin there, like in the middle? And then right below it is Muhammad Yahya. He is looking at Jason Herzog like, hey, what else do I have to do? Because this was probably like drop 4 or 5, dude. He got dropped 7 times, though, man. It's like, Herzog, you have to stop it. Like, just due to how many times you get dropped. Like, it's not like he was getting dropped and then, like, fighting off fucking Steve DeWin with, like, an arm bar or, like, a triangle, and, like, he was in sheer danger on the ground. He was, like, dropped in, like, fucking counting the stars as he got dropped, man. This fight was, I just don't understand, dude. Did Jason Herzog have the fight to go the distance in his parlays? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, so I will say this is one that I actually did not watch live. I had to go back and watch it. So I read your message, how you had said, hey, Jason Herzog not stopping the fight, what, blah, blah, blah. So, I went in kind of, my opinion was already kind of like influenced a little bit with what everybody was saying. But when you watch the first round, so I'll say some of the knockdowns, even the first two, I say the first three, because there were 4 knockdowns in the first round. The first 3, I'll say, damn, at least Muhammad Yahya, he did get right back up and was like fighting right back. So I can empathize with Jason Herzog to say there were moments where Yahya was fighting back. The 4th knockdown, it's like, okay, he's hurting, and Muhammad Yahya barely made it back to his corner, but he came back and fought hard in the second round. Okay, cool. You got knockdown number 6. And it's like again, and then knockdown. Dude, I know they said that one in the first round was a slip. No, it wasn't. It was a knockdown. He had 7 knockdowns. And that last one, like, dude, the fight, I'm like, Herzog, like, you have, like, number 7. It took 7 for you to not even think and not to blink towards stopping the fight. Like,
just move, fighter.
Dude, like, what do you mean? His head is getting bounced off the canvas right now. That's the only thing that's moving on him right now. And the only thing that is moving as well is that hematoma just rapidly growing on his eye, dude. Like, dude, it looked gross. And yeah, Herzog, that was a rough night. I don't know if he was trying to overcompensate for the Derek Lewis thing, where he's like, "Oh, I stopped it too early, so now I gotta let a fighter die." But man, he's normally on the right side of those decisions. He's been slipping up here lately, dude. I don't know what his deal has been, but it's been rough.
Yeah, I think I should give him one more. He showcased so much heart. Dude, I don't know if you're joking or not, Antoine. I don't know if you're joking or not.
Nah, Antoine's serious, and dude, no way. That
who's he gonna fight? Like, what are you gonna sign back Shannon Ross and fucking have him fight him in Abu Dhabi? Like that's our only option. Because Muhammad Yahya will throw. If anything, he'll throw.
Yeah, poor guy, man. And, he didn't want to lose in front of his home crowd. Like, cool, I get it, man. I mean, he just took an absolute ass whooping, and Jason Herzog made it all the worse by not stopping it.
Yeah, man. I just don't enjoy my opinion. Dude, who's tougher? I don't know. Who's tougher, man? Anyway. Let's remove this. Anyway, where are we at? Here we go. And the first fight of the night was Martin Buday versus Marcus Buchecha, dude. I did pick flip this on Friday, dude. I thought the size difference and honestly how small Marcus Buchecha was. I was like, dude, how is he even going to get Martin Buday to the ground? And then when the fight started, the fight went exactly how I thought it was going to go. Thankfully, I did bet Martin Buday via decision at like plus 550. It was like one of the only bets I won of the night. So, went on to lose that throughout the next, 12, like 10, 11, 12 fights of the night. So it came out at the end of the night with a big fat fucking goose egg. So I end up, losing everything. Didn't win a fucking thing this past weekend. How did you do overall betting this past weekend, D-Rose?
Yeah, I did okay. I ended up doing like I ended up hitting two parlays. I think I sent you the 2 that I hit. Freaking Carlos Leal ended up costing me a lot more. I could have had a pretty good weekend if it wasn't for Carlos Leal.
Me too.
But overall, I did do pretty good. As I told you, Bogdan cashed for me. That ended up cashing, and I had the main event. I just needed to start round 2, but heck, there were even moments there in the first where I was kind of, sweating a little bit. So, but yeah, had a pretty good weekend betting overall.
That's good. I'm glad someone won, because I'll tell you who didn't win. Also has 2 thumbs. This guy. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into this. Eat the beans. I could be like, oh, I'm moving. I don't know where the beans are at. Oh, I guess we'll just have to wait this for another day. But I'm not going to do it. I know where the beans are at. I still got them here. Still have an unopened pack.
You know they ain't gonna let you off the hook. They ain't gonna let you off the hook with that. You want to talk about bean gate? You want to talk about bean gate?
All right, so let's get a shake first. Let's get a shake. Oh, hold on. Let's cut on the music. That's the Rose's favorite part. Is the music indeed? Unless StreamYard has taken it away from us. Feeding the ducks. There we go.
I'm gonna say, don't be some hoes, StreamYard.
We got the bean whistle.
Don't stop.
Oh, I was trying to grab one. I grabbed 2. Man, that is stink bug or toasted marshmallow, and the orange one is barf or peach. Oh. Where's my bag at, dude?
Get ready to barf.
Here we go. Oh, dude, I don't want to do this. All right, let's go. Come on, peach me. Peach me, baby.
Hey. You got the bar.
You know exactly what that tastes like, dude?
Bar?
Well, yeah, but like specifically because it happened to me not too long ago, dude. I had some fucking Little Caesars and something fucked up my fucking stomach and I threw up the Little Caesars. That is exactly what it tasted like, dude.
Oh man, that's tough.
I'm gonna cry,
I had some Little
dude.
Caesars the other day. No, thank goodness I did not have an episode, but Little Caesars kind of underrated. Not my favorite, but underrated.
I mean, you can get a pizza for $6. That's pretty good. And sometimes when your parlays don't hit, that's all you got. It's about $6, baby. All right, stink bug or toasted marshmallow. Goddamn, dude. Neither one of these are good, so fuck it. It tastes like a stink bug smells, man. That's fucked. That's fucked, man. I need some of this. I need like a napkin or something, dude, to wipe this shit off my fucking face. Oh, dude. Oh. I hate this game, dude. Why do I do this? One more. God damn, clean sweep, dude. Like I fucking should have just said fucking 2. Oh yeah, we're done. God, clean sweep. Fuck, dude. And this card this weekend's ass too. I'm not confident on anything. I'm not trying to get clean swept again. God damn.
Bro, same. I'm not confident in any of the two.
God damn, 2 of the same peach or barf again, dude.
Dude.
Fuck, dude. Give me a peach. Fucking please. I'm tired of eating bad beans.
Get the bar.
This one's hard. I don't. It's in my teeth, dude. I don't know what it fucking tastes. I think it's peach. It's peach.
I was gonna say.
Hey, look at this. It's in my fucking teeth.
When you ask me, when you're like, why did it take you so long to chew and figure out the flavor? That right there are some of the ones that are in my box that are also like hard as a rock. And when you're chewing it, you don't get the flavor at first because they're sitting here all hard and stuff.
I can taste them. It's like I
It
only
takes
taste.
a second, though.
Yeah, if it's a good bean. If it's bad, I notice that shit right away. That's why I'm like, he's taking too long. It's a good bean. It's taking too long. Dude, that's rough, dude. That throw up was nasty. This stink bug tasted like a stink bug smells, dude. Not good.
That's yeah. Hey, you had to clean up with the piece there at round 3, so that was a good save. But hey, as I said, I gotta get a rhythm going. We got the belt back over here, baby. Pick champ of the week, and we're looking to bounce back. Let's get 2 in a row right here. Let's go.
All right, as the Rose says,
It's the bean.
let's go. It's the bean,
And
Bob.
it don't stop.
And it don't stop. All right. Here we go. Dude, I have to blow my nose after we fucking go through this. Target bag today, Dave. Let's get your Walmart bag. What's the actual grossest food you've ever eaten and didn't expect it to be nasty? I don't like sushi at all, Antoine. Like, everyone's like, let's fucking go to sushi. I never had it, dude. That was bad. It was cold rice and fish. I'm not really a seafood person to begin with. So that was immediately like, what the hell? How does anyone like this? What about you, D-Rose?
I definitely like sushi. Yeah, I definitely like sushi a lot. I mean, I don't.
I know D-Rose don't like beans.
Outside of like real beans, it's more of like a texture thing. It's not even like a flavor thing. It's just more like a texture thing because I can, it's kind of like the same thing with coconut. Like German chocolate cake. German chocolate cake has coconut on it, and I cannot stand coconut. Just because the texture of it, not even because of the flavor. Like I could not eat like the almond joys. My mom used to love almond joys. And when she was when I was younger, and I would try to get some, and I would try one, and I was like, oh, I just hated the texture of coconut. But I think just in terms of like a food, the only thing I can really think that I ever tried, maybe like Takis. I know like that was like a big thing where everybody was talking about how good Takis were, and I was like, man, let me try these things, and I just tried them and. It was just reasonably salty.
There is zero chance D-Rose ever ends up with a big booty Latina. He doesn't like beans or Takis. D-Rose is cooked. That's like 2 of the things that like around this household at all times, man.
Yeah, no, Takis, man. It's something about Takis. They're just way too salty. Now, hey, if there's a chip, dude, the Tostitos lime chips. I mean, I know that have you, dude? I'm telling you, the Tostitos lime, because I know that's supposed to be like a Hispanic thing, kind of like the hint of lime in their chips. Those I can eat the Tostitos hint of lime chips just as it is. I don't need any salsa for them or anything. Like that's how good they are. I can do those, but Takis, they're just way too salty for me.
Yeah, you look ghostly, white, and sick. It happens, Jeff. It happens. That's what happens when you throw up because you're eating shitty beans. D-Rose trying to cover himself up. D-Rose, you ain't fooling me. Coconut sucks. I like the flavor of coconut, but hate the texture of shredded coconut. Fair enough. One thing I like is pina colada. Fair enough. I love Nilla wafers. That's fair. What do I like? I don't know. I don't even know what I
Sweets. I could go on with sweets.
Yo,
like
do you know
cookies.
what I love, dude, and does not last more than like 2 or 3 days in this house? The Snickers ice cream bars, dude. Like I'll eat one of them. I'm like, I'll just have one more. And then I'm like, do we go for 3? And then that's half the fucking box because it only comes with fucking 6 in that bitch, dude. Like, what the hell? Like I need to go to like Sam's Club and like if I can get like the fucking 32 pack of that bitch.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. One of my best late night guilty pleasure snacks is a Little Debbie big iced honey bun, like the iced one, not the honey bun with the regular glaze, but like the icing on it. Dude, you take that bad boy, you throw it in the microwave for about 13, 14 seconds or so, not too much, because you don't want the icing to melt, but you got to do it enough to where that center gets gooey. Dude, I'm telling you, a Little Debbie, the big iced honey buns, you throw that in the microwave for a couple seconds, man, and that is cool. That is a delicacy right there.
Dude, I have the worst fucking taste in my mouth right now. It's like a mixture of ass and shit.
Don't read it. No. Don't read it.
I'm trying not to.
Don't read it. I gotta let you know. Don't read it.
I know you do, Dave. I know, man. All right, y'all. What else is next? I guess we'll get into our UFC news and fight announcements. I think we have like one fight announcement. I was happy when I saw it. I sent it to D-Rose. Do you know anything else besides this one, D-Rose? And that is this right here. September 27th, we have Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes. This is for UFC main event for UFC Perth, dude. This is going to be traveling a long way for Dominic Reyes, and I have seen so much love for Dominic Reyes in this fight, dude. Like, look at the comments here. Imagine a successful Dominic Reyes title run. 1 or 2 more fights until Dominic Reyes gets back in the title contention. If Reyes wins, he could be in the combo for a title shot. Dude, what am I missing? Do people actually think that he has a chance, that he's not going to get fucking snoozed?
I mean, I know.
Are they serious?
I know Dominic Reyes is your boy. I know that's your boy. But hey, and again, as you say, it is a fight. So anybody has a chance. And Dominic Reyes has a piston of the left hand. So let's not act like Ulberg also did get knocked out by Kennedy and Zechku. We know how
on the Contender Series. It's
that was his first fight
or
in
his
UFC. It was his UFC debut.
Okay, yeah,
it was
which is even more to my point where I like to not even count those.
Yeah, and I understand, and that was a learning.
Bogdan Guskov, I should not even count it, but I do.
Hey, no, I understand. But man, I'm telling you, I think Reyes does have a shot. I'm still going to favor Ulberg, but that doesn't mean that that Reyes is out of it, man. Reyes is a dog, and he's looked good, man.
Dude, after the Ryan Spann fight, I was like, oh, okay, that's it. That's all I need to see. I don't, dude, it's just all downhill. Prime Yuri and Prime Jan would beat Carlos. I mean, I think Yuri would beat Carlos now. Jan, I think Carlos moves too much. Imagine an Ulberg with John Jones in there. He's not even close to that level. Yeah, I don't think anyone was close to John Jones' level. That's why he won. Please, okay, all right. That's what we're doing. We're just doing on someone's best night ever. Like, what about all the title fights that John Jones had? And you're gonna count one night ever and be like, oh, That's Dominic Reyes right there. Like, that's one. Why not count him when he fought, Ryan Spann? Why not? Why is that not Dominic Reyes? It's a lot more recent if we're just being real here. So, I mean, you know what? You go ahead. You go ahead and put all your money, Jeff. Jeff K. You go ahead and put all your money on Dominic Reyes to beat Carlos Ulberg. Go ahead. If you win, I'll be here to congratulate you. The belief in Dominic Reyes to me this week is very, very surprising. Very, very surprising.
I think a lot of people like a good comeback story, and Dominic Reyes has he has looked good since he went on his slump. He was the guy who some
against Nikita Krylov. That look what just happened to him.
Yeah, but you also picked Krylov going into that Reyes fight
because Dominic Reyes is cooked.
But you can say 3-fight winning streak. He's not cooked. You know what I mean? Like he's not cooked. He still looks good. Is he going to win the title again? That's going to be tough. But people like a good comeback story, and Reyes has been doing his thing and been looking good. So. I ain't gonna hang on.
All right. I'm willing to be wrong on this one. I'm willing to be wrong. I cannot wait to get odds for this one. And it's minus 400 Dominic Reyes because everyone has just put all their money on him. I don't see it.
No. Ulberg will be the favorite. He'll be every bit of. I'd say he'll probably open as a -2 something favorite if I had to guess, and it'll probably climb. But hey, if Reyes is gonna be a pretty big underdog, hey, I bet on him to beat Krylov when he's a pretty big underdog in cash. Hey, it's worth the money.
Dude, what if it opens up Ulberg is plus money?
Then I'd probably put money on Ulberg. Because I don't think that line to stay plus for long. I would not hesitate. I'm a fan of both guys, and I do think that Ulberg ultimately will win the fight, but I'm just not counting Dominic Reyes out. I know he's been knocked out before, but so is Carlos Ulberg. So anybody has, and on their worst day. So and Reyes has a puncher's chance.
Yeah, we don't have odds yet. At least not that I can see. Anyway, give me Ulberg plus 250. Dave, I am with you, man. I am with you. Do you have any other, news or fight announcements, Rose? This is basically the only thing that I've seen.
You remember from the card this past week, they ended up announcing that Aaron Pico ended up getting a new opponent.
Oh yeah,
ended up being Lerone Murphy. And what was your opinion on that announcement?
Yeah, let me pull it up here. I did see that. I like the fight better than I liked the Mofsar fight because I didn't want to see Mofsar go out there and fucking sniff his crotch for fucking 3 rounds. Man, we knew what was going to happen. It's a Mofsar fight. So that being said, I like the matchup more for Aaron Pico here, but it is against the undefeated Lerone Murphy, dude. So, he's not really taking any shortcuts. He's, fighting an undefeated guy either way. Or fucking Mofsar's undefeated, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, either way, not taking any shortcuts. And I think this is kind of UFC's plan is to, maybe get Aaron Pico to come into the UFC. And if he's good enough to take one of these guys' O's, then he's probably fucking good enough to be at the top of the division. So I like the fight. Interested to see what happens because, these guys' first fight in the UFC, a lot of times they can drop the ball, man. And this is a tough fight. So I hope Aaron Pico's ready, man. I would guess I would go Lerone Murphy just because I've seen him more against, the best competition in the world. So off the jump, I would go Lerone Murphy via decision. How about you?
Yeah, Pico is the guy that I've told you I've been excited about coming over to the UFC for a while now. And I liked how you said it perfectly. Pico is taking no shortcuts here. He went from Mofsar to Lerone Murphy to 2 guys who absolutely nobody wants to fight. and two undefeated guys, but and two guys who are specialists in their own ways, but both very good and very smart. Sharp IQs on both guys with Malzar and Lerone Murphy. And Aaron Pico is willing to take on all comers, and I am a fan of Aaron Pico. I know they said that, the matchmakers and all those guys are big, basically they believe in the Aaron Pico stock, and they think that he could take this thing somewhere. They don't really, they don't have any American champs outside of Kayla Harrison right now. So I think they're trying to speed run some of these guys. And Lerone Murphy's the guy who, again, nobody wants to fight. And the UFC, I don't know if they necessarily be mad if Lerone Murphy ended up kind of getting knocked out the way. It's almost kind of like I think Lerone Murphy gets a bad rap for being a boring fighter, because I don't think he's necessarily like the most boring, but he's just not super flashy. He doesn't really do a lot to sell himself, and therefore nobody really gets too excited to watch him fight in general, just because there's no real energy coming to his fights or anything like that. It's just, hey, he's a technician. Watch him beat a guy over 3 rounds, and that's it. And there's nothing that's overly exciting about Lerone Murphy.
Yeah. Anton wants to know if whoever wins this fight gets a title shot. I just think 145 is so stacked right now, dude. I think it's hard to say one of these gets a title shot.
Yeah, I think too, honestly, my tinfoil hat theory is I don't think Malzar had any type of injury. I think Volk has been calling for the Malzar fight for a while now, and he said that he's the most deserving. I think the UFC just pulled Malzar, and they're going to make Volk versus Malzar maybe in December for the end of the year card. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah, I don't think that. But yeah, that's more or less what I think. But I don't think that Lerone Murphy is probably still going to need it. Still at least one more.
I could see that. And I would like to see Aaron Pico come in the UFC and get a win, man.
Yeah, I will say, I think if Pico gets the win, I think Pico is probably going to fight for a title
right away.
Yeah. I think he's going to get the Chandler treatment. I think the UFC is excited about him coming over, especially if if Pico can go out there and kind of dominate, or and I don't know if have you watched much of Aaron Pico's fights at all or anything?
No.
Man, he's a really good wrestler, and he's also got really good boxing. And dude, if you go back and some of his highlights, like dude, he's calmed down a lot, but he's got a little bit of that brawler to him. Really good combos, roast guys to the body, and he's got like really good knockout highlight reels. So I can see why the UFC is excited for him coming in. I think he's going to get the Chandler treatment, man. I think if he comes in, gets a win to the way that he's capable of getting a win against a guy like Lerone Murphy, he's getting the title shot 100%.
Yeah, what I know about Aaron Pico, or about early Aaron Pico, was that he was like super, like, had all this hype around him, like all-American wrestler, like fucking Golden Gloves, fucking trained by fucking this person, that person, like was like undefeated amateur, and then like fucking came in and got fucking knocked out in his first fight in Bellator. And I was like, yep, I see how that goes. And then I've kind of kept up with his like fucking career. But out of like the past 5 years now, I cannot say that Aaron Pico has been on my mind even one time until he was signed to the UFC.
Yeah, no, and I can understand. I mean, and Bellator is very inconsistent there for a little bit, and then PFL never got him in a fight, so he has been out of commission for a little bit. So that's another thing I'm curious to see, is if there's going to be any ring rust here for Aaron Pico, and then Lerone Murphy taking the fight on 3 weeks' notice. Is there going to be any sort of fatigue for him taking the fight on short notice? Pico being out for a long time. It's going to be interesting to see how both the guys look off of their circumstances.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll have to go watch some Pico highlights. But here in the next few weeks, I'm going to have to go watch his, past few fights anyway, just to, just because of the matchup with Lerone Murphy and the pick and such. So with that being said, let's get into the fights for this upcoming weekend. We've got UFC Vegas 108, Tatsuro Taira versus Hyung Sung Park, our preview and our picks for this fight card. Wow, what a poster, D-Rose. Well, give me your honest thoughts on this sick poster that we have here, dude.
Man, so sick. And it's fight week.
If you didn't know.
Week. Yeah, that again, that looks like an edit. Like they were using some editing format that just had fight week, and they meant to switch it out and put Taira and Park on there, and they just forgot to put the names on there. And they was like, oh shit, like we left fight week up there, but it's already up there now, so we can't go back and change it. So that it just very lazy. Did you even have to make a poster at this point? With the way that everything's been falling apart. I mean, shit.
Like it's in the Apex. Like who's getting these posters?
Yeah, exactly. I mean that they had to give me this poster because there's no way I'd go out and buy it.
All right. It is some UFC fights, and I am a fan of UFC fights. So no matter what they are, I will be watching them. And they will be taking place this Saturday, August 2nd at 6 p.m. East Coast time for the prelims. That's when everything starts. It's going to be taking place at the Apex. We've got 12 fights to go over. It is going to be headlined by I'm Happy, Thank You, Tatsuro Taira taking on Hyung Sung Park. We've got Chris Duncan taking on Matus Raubetsky. We've got Esteban Ribovics taking on Elvis Brenner, my contention for fight of the night there. We've got Carol Hosa taking on Nora Cornell. We've got Neil, the Haitian sensation Magni, taking on Elizu Zaleski Capoeira dos Santos. We've got Danny Silva taking on Kevin Vallejos. We've got Nick Klein taking on Andre Pulayev. We've got Rinya Nakamura taking on Nathan Fletcher. We've got Adolfo, the black belt Hunter Vieira, taking on Trayshawn Gore. We've got Felipe Bunes or Felipe Buns taking on Rafael Esteban. We've got Pierre Rodriguez taking on Caitlin Souza. And added yesterday, 2 days ago, I believe, we have Austin Bashi taking on John Giannis. So that is all 12 fights on the card. Look at all the fights that got canceled. Andre Lima taking on Felipe Buns. Amir Albazi, Tatsuro Taira. Amir Albazi pulled out. Azamat Bekaev taking on Taurus Finney. Finney came out. Francis Marshall, Austin Bashi. Marshall pulled out. And then Azamat Bekaev and Usari Bulgari, I think that's how you say it, and Bulgari couldn't get into the U.S. quick enough, D-Rose. So lots of canceled fights. So this is kind of just like a thrown together card. My thoughts on it altogether are, this is not a good card, but if we're going to be real here, I'm a fan of UFC fights. So no matter what the card is, I'm going to watch it. What's your thoughts overall, D-Rose? Are you talking? Or are you muted?
Sorry, I ended up muting my mic the other way.
Okay.
So I ended up doing it from my computer. So yeah, I ended up finding it there. But yeah, no, this card, admittedly awful. There's not much action on this weekend, so obviously we're going to be watching, and we'll have some bets, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to play too much this weekend. I might at most spend $20-$25 on this card. I just don't really. There's not a lot of value. There's a couple dogs that I am going to pick. One I might bet on, but other than that, man, there is not a lot of juice on this card for me. A lot of these lines are kind of out of whack.
Yeah, and FanDuel's kind of behind this week. I know fucking DraftKings already got all the props posted for everything besides the Bashi fight, D-Rose. So, FanDuel needs to step it up this week.
Yeah, well, I guess terrible card. They're probably not getting too much traffic on it right now.
Fletcher by KO telling you now. All right, Dave. All right. So, first fight of the night is going to be, well, I don't think this is going to be the first fight of the night, but right now, this is what Tapology has it as. Austin Bashi taking on John Giannis. Austin Bashi, 13-1 overall, 23 years old, 5'6", and a 70-inch reach, while John Giannis is 9-3 overall. Out of his last fights, he has 4 wins and 1 loss, same as Austin Bashi. He is 31 years old, 5'8", and we don't have a reach. Yeah, D-Rose, I looked back and just saw this right here. Lost a rear naked choke a year ago by someone in Fury. Not a good look. And then he also did lose to a dude that was recently in the UFC, also by sub 2. But if I'm going to be honest here, this is a get right fight for Austin Bashi to just, get back to winning here in the UFC. And, whether it's by ground and pound or by rear naked choke, I think Austin Bashi wins this fight. He did lose 6 months ago to C-Rod, but at this point, dude, C-Rod is just like the fucking prospect killer. If he's fighting in undefeated fighter, we just know to pick fucking C-Rod at this point, dude. It's like that's just what C-Rod does, man. So for me, it's Austin Bashi. Let's go round 2 submission. What about you, D-Rose?
Yeah, I don't know much about Giannis. I'm just going to say Austin Bashi, come in with a lot of hype, and as you said, there's no shame in losing to C-Rod because C-Rod's a guy who he has been the zero taker for all the rising prospects, so he's going to be a tough guy to be matched up with, especially for your UFC debut. So, but I think he's going to have some advantages here, being able to take the fight down to the ground. I am with you. I do think Austin Bashi gets a submission. I'm going to go round 2 submission for Austin Bashi.
All right, looks like me and you both on Austin Bashi, round 2 sub. Moving on to the next one, we've got Pierre Rodriguez taking on Caitlin Souza. So La Fiera, Pierre Rodriguez, is 10-2 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Win over Kay Hansen 3 years ago. Win over Sam Hughes 2 years, 9 months ago. Lost to Jillian Robertson 2 years, 3 months ago. Lost to Ariane Carnellosi a year and 2 months ago via that headbutt where the ref was like, "Hey, watch your head." And she was like, "Okay, you want me to use my head?" Wow. Terrible IQ from Pierre Rodriguez against Ariane Carnellosi there. But I don't know if that was more of her being frustrated or what, dude. Just a bad look. But something that burned everyone was 7 months ago, Josephine Knudsen. Pierre Rodriguez looked like Khabib out there against Josephine Knudsen, dude. Looked kind of crazy. Josephine got cut after that fight, man. So, I just don't really know what to think about Pierre Rodriguez. She was for sure fighting for her contract there, and truly, if I'm going to be honest, I don't think she wins this fight. Currently, the odds for the fight are -225 for Pierre Rodriguez, and Caitlin Souza is +185. Over-under here is 2.5. The over is -375, and the under is +270, dude. I think Caitlin Souza has got the tools to go out here and, stuff takedowns and box up Pierre Rodriguez, dude. And if this goes to, a decision, Pierre Rodriguez, by any means, I don't think anyone in the UFC she should be. Maybe against Pooja tomorrow, she might be a -225 favorite, but that's about it, man. I have to go. I have to go Caitlin Souza here to win this fight via decision as the dog, dude. And Caitlin Souza to win via decision is currently +300, man. So +185 money line, but +300 for via decision. How about you, man? Pooja tomorrow.
That was a good one. That was a good pull because man, I am with you because I'm honestly, and I heard somebody say this not too long ago. Even when it comes to gambling, what is going on here, dude? This is crazy. Man, that dude's wild. Let me say that. But yeah, Dave, you a wild boy. That's crazy. But man, they said that when you're going into you're going to pick something, be sure to not look at the line before you kind of have an idea on who you want to pick, because the line can really influence it. Me sitting here being a dummy, I'm thinking Caitlin Souza is going to be a minus 200 favorite, and I'm like, man, this is not going to be much value on Caitlin Souza. She's the underdog. I don't know if maybe losing the Angela Hill fight, people are going to be down on her. I thought Caitlin Souza. I believe we both had Angela Hill in like a parlay. And I remember, I can't remember. I feel pretty damn confident. We messaged each other after that fight, was like, we need a robbery here in order to get the win. And Angela Hill ended up getting the win, and we were both like, yes. Like we both ended up needing Angela Hill to get the win by robbery, because I thought Caitlin Souza won the fight. So I think maybe bettors are down on her, but I think, Souza, even when she got taken down by Angela Hill, she was still able to scramble, get back up on her feet, and was still able to inflict damage. I think Pierre Rodriguez ain't going to have anything for Caitlin Souza on the feet. I think Caitlin Souza by decision is the way to go. I'm super surprised that Souza's a dog. Because man,
dude, and it's getting wide, dude. It like opened up like minus 300 Pierre Rodriguez, and then it got like down to like minus 150 Pierre Rodriguez. Now it's opening back up again.
Interesting, man. That's
I'm
with you on that. Souza by decision. I might look around 3 or decision just to be safe. But yeah, I am with you on that, man. I think Souza's got a very good chance here, and as a dog, I'm taking that.
Yeah, and Jeff, you're not wrong, man. In women's MMA, sometimes betting the manlier one is the right way to go, man. Just because it's just what happens. It's just what happens. All right, moving on to the next fight. We've got Felipe Bunes or Felipe Buns taking on Rafael Esteban. So Felipe Bunes, 14-7 overall out of his last 5 fights. 3 wins, 2 losses. That's an LFA. In UFC, he got knocked out by Joshua Van a year and 6 months ago, but not the worst in the world. He did beat Jose Johnson via armbar 6 months ago. He is 35 years old, 5'7", and a 69-inch reach. He fights or trains with the Pitbull brothers, so we know how he fights. On the other hand, Rafael Esteban, 13-0. He beat Jesus Aguilar via decision 5 months ago, so we know he can stuff some takedowns. He did beat Charles Energy Johnson a year and 8 months ago via decision, so we know he has at least solid output, and he knocked out dude on the Contender Series 2 years, 9 months ago. He is 28 years old, 5'8", and a 69-inch reach. Fights out of Novo União. That's Jose Aldo in his camp. Yeah, man, I don't think there's a chance Felipe Bunes wins this fight. It wouldn't surprise me if Rafael Esteban knocked out Felipe Bunes in the second round. So that's the way I'm going, dude. Felipe Bunes is truly – I don't know how he's in the UFC, man, if I'm going to be real. Like, just looking at what happens in all of his fights, dude, nothing looks good to me, dude. I'm like, but I don't know how he's here, man, if I'm going to be real.
I mean, I don't necessarily think he's that bad.
Do you guys think LFA? No, yeah. LFA's solid promotion, Antoine. It's just not, I wouldn't consider it to be the top promotion, I guess.
I mean, they are a pretty big feeder league for the UFC.
Yeah.
Or like a feeder promotion for the UFC. So, I mean, they're up there as far as one of the regional promotions, but I would say that Bunes, he's got some talent. I mean, he's got some pretty good striking. I mean, he's got pretty decent takedowns, and he's good scrambling too, because he took this fight on short notice against Josh Van, but and Josh Van, he does kind of get hit a little bit. But if you go back in that first round, like Felipe Bunes was actually kind of lighting Josh Van up a little bit. I remember I'd actually bet Josh Van in that fight. I had him in a parlay, and I was pretty nervous there in that first round because Bunes is kind of landing some combos, and now ultimately he did get finished by Josh Van. Look, that's no struggle in that whatsoever because Josh Van's about to fight for the title, And Jose Johnson, that's a good win against a solid guy. I think Esteban, I thought Jesus Aguilar won that last fight. I know I picked Jesus Aguilar going in that fight, but I still thought that Esteban was just really trying to go for the takedowns and kind of hold position for the most part there, kind of holding on for the dear life there at the end. I do think that he can get the fight down to the ground, but if this fight ends up being on the feet, I think Buenas does have a path to victory. I am going to go Esteban by decision. I think he ends up getting it done, but I'm definitely not betting this fight whatsoever. I'd probably take the over if I'm going to bet anything on this fight, but I think Felipe Buenas is alive. Let's say that.
Speaking of odds here, Rafael Esteban minus 550, your favorite. Felipe Buenas plus 410. The underdog over under here is 2.5. The over is minus 154. The under is plus 120. Yeah, dude. I agree with the line. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like, okay, I see it. But I just don't think Felipe Buenas is that good. Moving on to the next one, we've got Adolfo Vieira taking on Tresean Gore, the black belt hunter. Adolfo Vieira's 10-3 overall. Last loss was to Andre Petrosky, where they decided to go out there and have a kickboxing match for 3 rounds. Dude, looking back at the stats, it said Adolfo shot like 10, 11 times. I don't even remember him shooting once in that entire fight.
Yeah, that fight was rough, dude. And that was a fight that I had Adolfo in a lot of bets too.
Yeah. Anyway, he did beat Armin Petrosian via arm triangle a year and a half ago. 2 years ago, the UFC's favorite fight of all time, submitted Cody Brundage. He did lose to Chris Curtis 3 years ago and choked out Dustin Stolfoots 4 years ago. He's 35 years old, 6 foot, 73-inch reach. Wow, Mr. Vicious. Tresean Gore's 5-3 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he has 2 wins and 3 losses. Lost to Marco Tulio. He did beat Antonio Trocoli via standing guillotine. But, I mean, he probably had no legs in that fight. Never mind. Anyway, he did choke out Josh Frem 2 years, 8 months ago. He did lose to Cody Brundage via knockout 3 years ago and lost to Brian Battle on the on the Ultimate Fighter finale 3 years, 5 months ago. D-Rose, for me, I just think there's levels to this game. I don't think Tresean Gore has seen the amount of jiu-jitsu attacks that Adolfo Vieira has forgotten in his life at this point. So I think at some point in this fight, if it's not the first round, it's probably going to be the second round. Let's go round 2 submission for Adolfo Vieira here. And odds for this fight are minus 205. Adolfo Vieira. Tresean Gore is plus 170. Over under here is 1.5. The over is minus 145. The under is plus 114. Adolfo Vieira by submission is plus 130. Where are you going, Deros?
I will say that this is one I've actually been going back and forth with.
I don't know how.
Well, and there's not many times where I have picked Tresean Gore. Like against Shirkali, Josh Frim, guys like that, maybe. But as far as anything else, I struggle picking them. Adolfo Vieira is another guy that I also struggle picking because I think a lot of the jiu-jitsu specialists, as we saw with Buchecha, it's hard for those guys to get consistent wins in the modern UFC now. Just so many guys are so well rounded, and I honestly think that was a big part of Adolfo Vieira's last fight was that he ended up turning into a kickboxing match with Petrosky when he really needed to try to get it down to the ground, and he shot a couple times. As you said, maybe it wasn't quite 11, but I do remember he got stuffed pretty easily, and Petrosky pretty much just outboxing the rest of the time. I think Tresean Gore's got enough athleticism, man, to where, and he's got enough power to where he can keep Adolfo Vieira off of him. I'm actually going to go, shockingly, I want to go Tresean Gore by decision here. I think Trayshawn Gore can actually get the job done. I think he's going to be a little bit more calm in this fight. He actually looked pretty decent in the Marco Tulio fight. He just went in there just slinging dicks with him, for the most part, as you like to say. And I thought that he did look really good in that fight until he didn't. But he's looked a little bit better in his last few fights, man. And I don't know if he's quite putting it all together just yet. But I think in this particular matchup, he's the better athlete, the younger guy. Let's go Gore by decision.
Fair enough. So me and D-Rose split for the first time of the night. D-Rose, I hate to tell you, but I know exactly how this fight's going to go. I think I don't disagree with you. Gore's younger, more athletic, and I think he has confidence that he can do what Fluffy done. He's going to look at the Fluffy fight and be like, I can do that. Adolfo's going to shoot in. We're going to see Gore shoot, pull, jump guillotine. Adolfo Vieira is going to pull his head out. And then, Gore's going to be on the ground for 3 minutes and 20 seconds on his back with Adolfo Vieira on top of him, man. And then what comes next? Arm triangle, arm bar, Is he going to give up the back and rear naked choke, dude? I don't think the fight IQ is there for Trayshawn Gore. But, we can be wrong here. That's the first one that we are split on of the night. Adolfo Vieira for me, Trayshawn Gore for D Rose. Moving on to the next one, we've got Rinya Nakamura taking on Nathan Fletcher, dude. Oh, man, if there's one that burned us in the last one, it was Rinya Nakamura over Muin Gafurov, where Rinya Nakamura, I guess, forgot that he wrestled, man, because he went out there and fought, Muin Gafurov, kind of like Adolfo Vieira fought Andre Petrovsky, dude. I don't know what happened. No clue there. Anyway, the hybrid, Rinya Nakamura, is 9-1 overall out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins, 1 loss, win against Carlos Vera, decision win against Fernie Garcia, knocked out Tashomi Kazama, and that was on road to UFC. Shohei Nose. Wow, that dude's last name is Nose. Anyway, 30 years old, 5'7" and a 68.5-inch reach. He was on or had a shot, could have been on the Japanese Olympic wrestling team, D-Rose, Rinya Nakamura. As where Nathan Fletcher, on the other hand, is 9-2 overall. His 2 losses are to Dominic Wooding. Anyway, he did come to the Ultimate Fighter and did beat Ziggy Montes Ramasca there via arm triangle in the I don't remember what round it was. I don't know why I'm trying to say what round it was. Anyway, that was 10 months ago. He did lose to Colin Loughran via split decision 4 months ago, which is a terrible look now that Colin Loughran is cut from the UFC. And he got taken down quite often in that fight by Colin Loughran, and that's not a good look going up against Rinya Nakamura this week if Rinya wrestles, dude. Anyway, Nathan Fletcher is 27 years old, 5'7" and a 70-inch reach. It's going to be odd seeing Rinya Nakamura size up the same as his opponent because Rinya tends to be a little bit smaller than his opponents, dude. So, I guess I'll go Rinya Nakamura to win this fight via decision just by wrestling Nathan Fletcher all 3 rounds. I'm not going to count on him to get a finish. That's for damn sure because he knocked out Tashomi Kazama does not mean that he is a finisher at this point. In his past 2 fights, I bet him via finish, and then I got burned on all of them, man. So Rinya Nakamura decision for me. Odds for the fight, though, are Rinya Nakamura minus 425, Nathan Fletcher plus 330, over under 2.5. Over is minus 220, unders plus 170. Which way are you going, D-Rose?
Yeah, I think I think the bet line's a little bit inflated. Rinya Nakamura, especially him kind of crapping his pants in his last fight. But Nathan Fletcher, coming in off the Colin Loughran loss. But a lot of people actually thought that Nathan Fletcher won that fight and that he ended up getting robbed because Colin Loughran was doing a lot of cage hugging. He was getting some takedowns, but Loughran was still able to scramble and get back up, up against the fence. He was getting held, sure. But I do think that, he ended up, boding well in that fight. And a lot of people thought he won. So, I think the bet line's a little bit inflated. But I do think that Brendan Nakamura, with his wrestling pedigree, is going to be able to take advantage of Nathan Fletcher's takedown defense, because Nathan Fletcher, in that last fight against Loughran, he got taken down but was able to get back up. I think Brendan Nakamura does have good top control once he gets the fight down to the ground, and that's where he can really take advantage of. So I think Brendan Nakamura by decision is the way to go.
All right, me and D-Rose agree on that one. Do they push Rinyan again if he wins this? They still want him to be up there because they need Japanese fighters. Maybe, man, but they just got to be careful, or at least hear his game plan for the fight. What was the game plan in the last fight? I just don't get it. Anyway, moving on, we've got Nick Blue Collar Klein taking on Andre Pulaev. Blue Collar Nick Klein, 6-2 overall. His 2 losses were against Jordan Jojak. I don't know. Anyway, he has had 1 fight in the UFC and has been on the contenders where he did win via rear naked choke. And then he fought Mansour Abdul Malik 5 months ago. And man, D-Rose, we did pick Mansour Abdul Malik in the fisting of the week that week, and it cashed. But sheesh, there was a few close moments that were for sure, peach hole lemons, if y'all know what I'm talking about. That spinning back elbow from Nick Klein definitely landed on Mansour Abdul Malik. Anyway, Nick Klein is 29 years old, 6'1" and a 77-inch reach, while Andre Pulaev is 9-3 overall. He's had 1 fight in the UFC as well, where he lost to Christian Leroy Duncan. He is 27 years old, 6'4" and a 78-inch reach. Odds for the fight are plus 130 for Nick Klein. Andre Pulaev minus 155. The favorite. Over under here is 1.5. The over is minus 210. The under is plus 160. The Rose. I was unimpressed by Andre Pulaev in this last fight against Christian Leroy Duncan. Mostly because I think we can agree that CLD is not the best fighter in the world. He might act like he is. He might be athletic enough to be the best fighter in the world, but he's kind of a fucking idiot inside the octagon. Just kind of fucks around. And Andre Pulaev looked like he was malnourished inside the octagon, dude. It was weird. It was like, does this dude eat? I'm not sure, dude. Nick Klein, although going to be a few inches shorter, does have, some size on him. And I like him here. I like him as the dog. The over-under here is 1.5, and I like Nick Klein to, go in here and land bigger shots. If it ends up on the ground, threaten with submissions. Or if not, just have more control there. Give me the dog, Nick Klein, to win this fight via decision, and for him to do so is plus 400, D-Rose. Which way are you going here?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm actually with you. Yeah, I think I actually had the same analysis that I wasn't super impressed with Pulaev, and I think even Nick Klein in a loss to Mansour Abdul Malik really showed himself, and Nick Klein came into that fight on short notice as well. I think he came in, it was within the week. On short notice, and really, boded well for himself in that fight. So, yeah, I think Nick Klein's got all the ability to get it done. He fights with a lot of pressure, aggression. Pulaev, has this kind of like a Christian Leroy Duncan type attitude. But yeah, I think Nick Klein gets it done. I want to go submission round 2. I think he gets it done.
Fair enough. Me and D-Rose both on Nick Klein, the dog, to get it done this weekend. Up next will be my contender for the fisting of the week, D-Rose. We've got Danny Silva taking on Kevin Vallejos. We've got El Puma, Danny Silva, 10-1 overall, taking on, out of his last 5 fights, were in LFA and then on the Contender Series, and then split decision win against Josh Kulabau, and then split decision win against Lucas Almeida. He is 28 years old, 5'11", and a 70-inch reach, while El Chino, Kevin Vallejos, is 15-1 overall. His only loss ever was to guess who? John Silva on the Contender Series, where he did go to decision with, dude, ate all the punches that he had and, just lost via decision. Went outside and then came back on the Contender Series, knocked out Cam Teague, and then 4 months ago, absolutely demolished Sting Sungwoo Choi, if you will. He is 23 years old, 5'7", and a 68-inch reach, dude. And I think he absolutely fists Danny Silva this weekend. And it's probably going to be in the first round. Odds for the fight are currently Danny Silva plus 320, Kevin Vallejo's minus 410. Over under here is 2.5. The over is minus 110. The under is minus 120. It's not that Danny Silva's not a good fighter, D Rose. I just think that Kevin Vallejo has a lot of power, dude. He's tough as all hell, and he walks for, honestly, kind of like Esteban Ribovics, dude. These Argentinian fucking fighters, they walk forward and throw heat, and it's kind of up to you. Can you take it or not? And I've just seen Danny Silva hurt a few times. And if you're getting hurt by these dudes, I think that Kevin Vallejo is going to put you out. So for me, Kevin Vallejo, round 1 knockout for me. How about you, man?
Man, I do think Vallejo gets it done. I'm surprised that you offered this up for fencing of the week because I know Danny Silva's been a prospect who, he's had a lot of hype and he's looked good in the UFC. Now, I will say that, he was a pretty massive favorite against Josh Culibao, and I actually thought Culibao won that fight. I thought that fight was pretty close, but I thought Culibao outgassed him, putting the pressure on late. But I do think that Silva does have some things that he can try to go here and take advantage of, maybe with the wrestling. But I do think that Vallejo's, he does have some crisp boxing, man. Good, good posture. Yeah, and again, even in that Jones Silva fight, he looked really good in that fight, even in the loss in the Contender Series. And Vallejo's boxing, man, it's something to watch. A lot of people, if they haven't watched him yet, they're definitely going to be fans. I think Vallejo gets it done. I think it's actually going to be a decision. I think Danny Silva, he's super tough. He's never been finished. Of course, he's only 11 fights in, and he hasn't fought a guy like Vallejo's. But I think Vallejo's is going to realize, a couple punches he lands, he's not going to be able to get Danny Silva out of there. But he might, just end up pacing himself, working through the 3 rounds, and methodically kind of picking Silva apart. So I'm going to go Vallejo's by decision.
All right, D-Rose. Kevin Vallejo's by decision, plus 240. Kevin Vallejo's by knockout, minus 110. Moving on to the next one, dude. We got the old guy fight of the week. We've got the Haitian sensation, Neil Magny, taking on Elizeu Zaleski Capoeira dos Santos. Neil Magny, 29-13 overall out of his last 5 fights, 2 wins, 3 losses. Lost to Carlos Prates knockout 8 months ago. Lost to Michael Morales 11 months ago knockout. Win against Mike Malott a year and a half ago knockout. The decision loss to Ian Gary basically 2 years ago, and Phil Rose split decision win 2 years ago. Neil Magny is 37 years old, 6'3" and an 80-inch reach, while Elizeu Zaleski Capoeira dos Santos, 25-9-1 overall. At his last 5 fights, 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. What happened here? It's a majority decision, yeah. It's a majority decision draw against Renat Fakhretdinov. Probably in Abu Dhabi, dude. That makes the most sense. Anyway, lost to Randy Brown via decision, win against Zach Scroggins, and then a loss to Chidi 4 months ago. But Chidi missed all the weight that fight and then snoozed Elizeu in the first round with knees and elbows. Yeah, Elizeu's 38 years old, 5'11", and a 73-inch reach. Odds for the fight, D-Rose, are plus 164 for Neil Magny, and Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos is minus 198, the favorite. Over under here is 2.5. The over minus 180. The under is plus 140. Dude, for being the older dude, losing my knockout 4 months ago, I don't understand the odds. Why is Zaleski a 2-1 favorite? His name is Capoeira. Like I understand if he was to go out here and shoot takedowns all of his fights, but he doesn't really do that. He stands and kicks. Occasionally, once he kind of realizes that the strikes aren't working, he'll try for a few trips and shit while he's on the fence. But he's not going out there and shooting takedowns, and that's the way to beat Neil Magny. And as the dog, dude, I think Neil Magny sucks him in to the Magniverse this weekend, and we get a Neil Magny decision win. As Neil Magny always wins, dude. Neil Magny via decision right now is currently plus 240, and I'm with it. How about you, man?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think the lines are out of whack. I don't know how Zaleski dos Santos is as big of a favorite as he is, considering that he has been pretty active and he looks pretty good against Renat Fakhdinov, but yeah, he ended up getting smoked by Chitty, man, and like he's been up and down as well, Zaleski dos Santos, and a guy like Neil Magny who has fought killer after kill. I mean, Ian Gary, Carlos Prates, Michael Morales. Those are his last 3 losses, and he has a win against Mike Malott and Phil Rowe within the time as well. So I mean, you're talking about prospects that he's still fighting time after time again and looking pretty well in some of those fights as well. So I'm going to go Neil Magny here by decision, man. I don't know what I'm missing. I think Capoeira himself. I think unless he lands a knockout shot against Neil Magny, I think it's Neil Magny's fight to lose. I think he can pick him apart from the outside. I think if the fight gets into the clinch, I think Neil Magny works well in the clinch. And then I think he can also take Zaleski dos Santos down as well. So I think there's a lot of passive victory for Neil Magny here. And yeah, I think Neil Magny gets it done.
Damn, D-Rose. That's 3 dogs me and you agreeing on this card, man. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 fights left to go. Let's move on to the next one. We have Carol Hossa taking on Nora Wonder Cornell. Carol Hossa is 18-7 overall out of her last 5 fights, alternating wins and losses. So we know what's coming up next, right? She lost Aileen Perez 6 months ago, win against Pani Kianzad 11 months ago, lost to Irina Aldana a year and 7 months ago at Noche, win over Yana Santos, split decision 2 years ago, and they lost to Norma Dumont 2 years and 3 months ago. Carol Hossa is 30 years old, 5'5", and a 67-inch reach, while Nora Cornell is 9-2 overall out of her last 5 fights. She is 4 wins, 1 loss, lost to Jacqueline Cavalcante via split decision, and 3 months ago choked out Haley Cowan via rear naked choke. But, Haley Cowan's not great. Let's be real. She is 35 years old, 5'7", and a 67-inch reach. Odds for the fight are currently Carol Hossa minus 185, the favorite. Nora Cornell is plus 154, the dog. Over under here is 2.5. The over is minus 1. Is minus 560. The under is plus 370. Yeah. I can't hate the odds here. Carol Hossa just throws so much, dude. She's so active in every single one of her fights with like leg kicks, punches. She's always in a fucking war, man. One of these girls are going to be bloody by the end of the night, probably both of them. Nora Cornhole, every time she fights, I kind of tell myself she is the female BSD. She kind of comes out, wings like fucking body kicks, very aggressive. But I don't think she has the best gas tank in the world. And if you don't have a good gas tank against Carol Hossa, she's just going to take over. She probably ain't going to finish you, but she is going to take over, and she is going to clearly win those last 2 rounds if you don't have gas. So for me, it's Carol Hossa via decision. And for that to happen, Carol Hossa via decision is currently minus 150, but Carol Hossa is minus 185. So, he should just take Carol Hossa money line if you're betting that one. How about you, D-Russ? I'm going to grab some drink real quick.
This is my girl, Carol Hossa. The dog herself, man. She is going to plot forward, flat-footed as shit, get in your face, throw 1-2s and savage leg kicks, and she's just going to look to put damage on you. And she's going to throw it 100%. And she's not going to get tired. And she's going to keep on throwing it. And she's going to keep snapping that jab. For me, man, I'm a Carol Hosa fan. I think win, lose, or draw, she's normally going in there, biting down on her mouthpiece and looking to get after. And I think this is good matchmaking here because I do think Nora Cornoli is, for the most part, she's going to keep the fight standing as well, and she's going to, try to make it a pretty fun affair. But I do think that Carol Hosa, I am surprised that she's as big of a favorite as she is. I think this fight should be every bit of, probably even money. But because Cornoli does have some pretty decent wins. Jocelyn Edwards, Haley Cowan, finish over her. So but I am surprised that Hosa is as big of a favorite. But I am going to go Carol Hosa here by decision, and what I think will be a pretty fun women's fight.
Fair enough. Dave says that's his PBF. It should be a fun one, Dave. Personally, I think Aldana versus Rocha should be inducted in the Hall of Fame. One of like the nastiest cut in a fight up there with Hobo Cop.
Yeah, no, that was it. Oh wait, was it Aldana? No, the
yeah,
Aldana
she had a nasty cut. Dumont.
The CDL driver.
Yeah, Dumont. That was probably it. But that was
like the best women's the Aldana and Hosa fight and Joanna versus Wei Lee are like the two best women's fights that I've ever seen. Like, that Aldana and Hosa fight, like you can go back and watch that fight again, and that fight, absolute dog fight. And Carol Hosa almost fights like that, like every fight. Like that's the crazy part. But
like it's like the recipe, like in Carol Hosa for a dog fight. Yeah,
dude. And Carol Hosa is always up for a dog fight, dude. It's crazy.
Oh. All right, man. So me and D-Rose picking the same on that one again. We'll move on to the next one where we have Esteban Rubovic taking on Elvis Brenner. El Gringo. Esteban Rubovic is 14-2 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. A loss to Loic Radzhabov 2 years and 4 months ago. A win over Kamal Kirk. A win over T-Rex with a nasty head kick a year and 2 months ago. Split decision win over Daniel Zellhuber 10 months ago. That was at the fucking Noche fight. Yeah, dude, that was a fucking banger, dude. I think that was at the Sphere. I don't know if you're muted or not. I can't hear you, but anyway.
Oh yes, I was on mute. That's my fault. Last year's fight of the year for a lot of people.
Yeah, and then a split decision loss to Nazareth Haqparast 4 months ago. But dude, I personally thought he won that fight, but that's just me. He is 29 years old, 5'10", and a 69-inch reach, while Elvis Brenner is 16-5 overall out of his last 5 fights. A win over Zvair Turkugov, split decision. A win over Guram Kutataladze, knocked him out in the 3rd round. Dude, I thought he killed Kainan Kraszewski in the 1st round when they fought here, and then lost to Miktabek Orbai via decision, and then got knocked out, I believe it was in the 3rd round by by Joel Alvarez. But I mean, he's tough as all hell. We just got to say that. Anyway, he is 27 years old, 5'10", and a 72-inch reach. Also trains out of Shootbox Diego Lima. D-Rose, I know Elvis Brenner is notoriously since he's been in the UFC, your guy. But also know you are Esteban Rubovic's fan as well. So I'm going to do you the honors. I'm going to let you break this down, and I'm going to let you go first. You probably already know which way I'm going here, but I'm going to let you go ahead and pick, man.
Yeah, this is one that I am going to say I have struggled with. This is one that, as you said, I am a fan of both guys. Elvis Brenner, he has put on, pretty much, a lot of dog fights, even in the Miktabek Orbai fight as well. I had to look back to make sure, but I believe Orbai missed weight in that fight as well, by a couple pounds. It wasn't a lot, but it was by a couple pounds going into that fight. And Elvis Brenner did his thing and took him late into that fight. I think the Joel Alvarez fight was just a little bit of a step too high. I just think the Joel Alvarez just size-wise is way too big. And now Joel Alvarez, I'm pretty sure I saw a thing where they said he's going up to 170 now. So yeah, that's a guy that's Joe Alvarez. You're not going to have many guys that size at 155. So, and I think for Ribovics, as you said, that fight against Zellhuber, fight of the year last year, absolute banger. One of the knockouts of the year against Terrence McKinney. Ribovics had a hell of a 2024. And I thought in that NASDAQ fight, the last fight he had, I actually thought Ribovics won. But he ended up getting a bad scorecard. I think Ribovics' biggest thing is that he does not have the greatest head movement. And he does get hit a lot. Now, he is willing to take one to throw four. Like, he is volume-based. He's in your face, and he's going to keep going time after time. I don't know, man. I think Elvis Brenner got his back against the wall here. I think he's going to use a little bit of wrestling here as well to try to get it done. But I'm actually going to go Elvis Brenner. I think he's going to get it done by decision. I think it's going to be a little bit of a dogfight, but I think there's going to be moments within the round where Elvis Brenner knows he's going to have to get the fight down to the ground and try to secure the rounds within the ground game. Because I think if he keeps it just a straight boxing match the whole time, I do think Ribovics is going to have success. So I think Elvis Brenner, a guy who can wrestle pretty well, again, he had pretty good wrestling success against Orba. I do think that Elvis Brenner can go out here and get it done. Let's go by decision. I think Elvis Brenner gets it done.
Fair enough. Odds for the fight, plus 205 Elvis Brenner, minus 250 for Esteban Ribovics. The over-under here is 1.5. The over is minus 270. The under is plus 200. Strictly just by the way these two fighters fight, man, how can the over be minus 270?
I think just because both guys are notoriously super tough.
Yeah, I do like the over here because of obviously both guys are tough, but I'm just going the opposite way, D-Rose. I just think Esteban Ribovics is just going to land the harder shots on the feet, and I can't count on these fighters to go out here and get takedowns when, let's be real. How often does Charles shoot takedowns? He just kind of gets knocked down and then fucking welcomes the fighter to the ground. So I'm going to go Esteban Ribovics to win this fight via decision. Just same fight, just the opposite winner of D-Rose. Moving on to the co-main event. Don't really understand why it's the co-main event. It should have been the last fight, if we're being real. But it is Chris Duncan, the problem, taking on Matus Rabisti Raumbetsky. Yeah. Is it bad that I don't care who wins this fight, man? Odds for the fight, minus 205, Matus Raumbetsky, plus 170 for Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan is 13-2 overall out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins and 1 loss. A submission win over Jordan Vucinic 4 months ago. Submission win over Balaji Oki 9 months ago. He did lose to Manuel Torres via rear naked choke a year and a half ago. He did beat Yanala Ashmos 2 years ago. And then he did beat Omar Morales via split decision 2 years and 4 months ago. He is 32 years old, 5'10", and a 71-inch reach, while Matus Raumbetsky is 20-2 overall out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins, 1 loss, and his 1 loss kills me. And dude, I don't know. I have a trouble picking him because he lost to Carlos Diego Ferreira, dude. I just don't understand, man. But hey, everyone loses a fight here and there, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, and then he did beat Mick the Big Horvath via split decision 8 months ago. Yeah, anyway, he is 32 years old, 5'7", and a 66-inch reach. The 5'10", dude, Chris Duncan's going to be the bigger guy here. But Matus Raumbetsky is always the smaller guy here. I have trouble in this fight because Chris Duncan gets fucking hit a lot, man. Like, he just gets mollywopped quite often, but I think he's tough enough to last until the third, man. The thing is, if he loses those first 2 rounds, then he's got to finish in the third. And what happens if he does it? And that's kind of what I expect to happen, man. So I don't like it, but I guess I'll go Raumbetsky via decision by winning the first 2 rounds and not getting finished in the third. Which way are you going here, man?
See, we got similar feels on this fight, I would say. So I think, Rubeski, good boxing, quick, kind of darts in and out, but he has the same reach as oh gosh.
Corey McKenna.
Corey McKenna, yes. He has Jesus Aguilar, like another one as well. Yeah. Mateusz Rebecki, Jesus Aguilar, and Corey McKenna, like all the worst reach in UFC history, based on their body size. Because, yeah, that's just rough the way that he has to kind of dart in and out. But he's good boxing. Chris Duncan, dude's a dog. As you said, he gets hurt in a lot of his fights, but in a lot of his fights, he always ends up coming back and getting the job done, man. He's resilient, tough, good submissions. He's getting better with his wrestling. He's a pretty good boxer. See, I think that Rubeski kind of starts the fight kind of quick. He's normally a fast starter and fades as the fight goes, where I think Chris Duncan is solid throughout the whole fight, man. I think Chris Duncan gets it done here. I also think that Chris Duncan gets it done by submission. I think he ends up getting the finish here, ends up gassing Rubeski. So give me Chris Duncan. I think he ends up getting maybe like a front choke, similar to how he got what was it, Blagioki, kind of something like that. Yeah, give me Chris Duncan, round 2 submission.
All right, me and DeRose split on that one, but I don't feel great about that one. I'm going to be completely honest. Main event time. Short notice, late replacement for Hyung-Sung Park, dude. But he is 10-0. But he is taking on the 16-1. Not undefeated, but I mean that last fight was close. He could be undefeated if a different judge was in there. He could be 17-0. Tatsuro Taira, or I'm happy, thank you. Anyway, Tatsuro Taira is 25 years old, 5'7", and a 70-inch reach. While Hyung-Sung Peace of Mind Park is 29 years old, 5'7", and a 66-inch reach. I'm not going to waste my time here, D Rose. This is a big step up for Hyung-Sung Park. A huge step up against someone that I have seen is top of the division level, dude. You go to a war with Brandon Royval like that and then have Brandon Royval singing his praises after the fight like, yo, this kid's going to be at the top. I don't think this fight's close. Minus 355 for Tatsuro Taira, plus 280 for Hyung-Sung Park. I think Taira probably submits Hyung-Sung Park. Let's go round 3, man, just because short notice for Hyung-Sung Park. He's probably got 2 rounds in him. He's usually in pretty good shape, but is he in absolute fight shape to go 5 rounds? I don't know, man. So let's go round 3 sub for Tatsuro Taira. And Tatsuro Taira via submission is currently plus 140. So not the best odds in the world, but that's my pick. Which way are you going, man?
Yeah, I am with you here. I do think that Tatsuro Taira gets it done, but Hyung-Sung Park, I mean, the dude's no slouch. I mean, I do think that he's going to have a shot here. I mean, the only way I'm going to bet this fight is for it to start round 2. Because I am with you. I do think Park has a couple rounds to, basically show his toughness and show that he's not going to be out of there easy. But I do think that taking the fight on short notice as he's taking it. I got to imagine that, he's been in some sort of shape to be able to take the fight, but to be in 5-round fight shape is going to be a little bit different. And I think Tatsuro Taira coming in off a loss against Brandon Royval, learned a lot in that fight. I think, taking a lot of lessons from that fight and now getting back into another 5-round fight to kind of know how to manage his gas throughout that 5 rounds as well, be able to help him here. I think Taira gets it done. I'm actually with you in the method as well. Round 3 submission. So let's go Taira round 3 sub.
Fair enough. And D-Rose for the fight to start round 2, minus 475.
Parlay piece.
All right, fair enough. So that is every fight on the card. Main card all the way down to the prelims. Me and D-Rose picked different on 2 fights, D-Rose. So 10 of the fights, me and you had the exact same pick on. So I am going to – nope. What's the 3?
You picked Ribovics, right?
Esteban Ribovics?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You picked Brenner, huh? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I picked Brenner. You pick
Yep.
Reeves. I got
Yep, that's
Duncan.
it.
You got Rebesky. I got
Yeah.
Trayshawn Gore. You got Adolfo Vieira. They're the three.
Yeah, I didn't write it down. I think I fucking went to get something to drink there. Or I fucking let you go first. Yeah, I'll let you go first, and I didn't write it down. Yeah, so our 3 different fights this upcoming weekend are Adolfo Vieira versus Trayshawn Gore, where I am going Adolfo Vieira, D Rose going Trayshawn Gore, Esteban Ribovics versus Elvis Brenner, where I'm going Esteban Ribovics, D Rose going Elvis Brenner, and Matus Rombetsky versus Chris Duncan, where I am going Rombetsky and D Rose is going Duncan. So looks like I got the 3 favorites this week. D Rose, how you feeling, brother man? Clean sweep coming up?
Definitely not a clean sweep, but man, I'm pretty sure I got all dogs in this too. So
yeah, I just said that. I said I got all 3 favorites.
yeah, this is the co-main event I feel best about.
Okay. That's the one I don't feel good about it at all.
I do think Elvis Brenner's going to have the steepest hill to climb. I will say that, but I think he's got a shot just because Ribovics does get hit a little bit, and Elvis Brenner loves the Apex.
I think your best shot is the last 2. I don't think Trayshawn Gore has a shot, if I'm going to be real.
I can't pick it off of Vieira. I can't.
That's fine. That's fine. But that's okay. That's okay. Antoine wants to know what are you guys going to do about UFC Shanghai? That's at 3 a.m. I'm setting an alarm. Depending on the card, man. Like I know for what was the card that they had? Like fucking Singapore. That shit was early as hell too. I think I was up for the main. I may have missed like the first like 3 fights because I was like, I fucking got up maybe like 5 or something like that. So I missed like the first like 2 or 3 fights. I know D Rose ain't getting up. He's like, fuck that shit.
No, especially because I have to work on that Saturday as well. So yeah, I'm getting as much rest as I can get, so that way I'm not having to, end up going in like a sludge. I'll just go back and watch the fights again. Like some of the fights this past weekend, I didn't get to see all of them, so I had to go back and watch some of them. That's the beauty of having some of the streaming platforms we have. ESPN Plus, they might try to make it the hardest task possible to find, the fights that just aired 2 hours ago, but you can still go back and watch them, and that's what I like to do.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So only one thing left, D Rose, and that is the fisting of the week. Who is getting fisted this weekend, man?
I mean, I know you said in the Vallejos fight, but
hold on. Let me see the options real quick. Let me see the options because Tatsuro Taira sub, Rubetsky decision, Rubovic's decision, Hosa decision, Magny decision, Kevin Vallejos round 1 knockout was mine. Klein, we're both picking. Ringy Nakamura decision, Vieira we're different on. Esteban round 2 knockout. So our only options really are I'll include Austin Bashi. I'll give Austin Bashi versus John Giannis in there. I'll go Esteban over Felipe Bunez or Esteban or Vallejos over Danny Silva. I think any of those 3. I think those 3 favorites should finish, man.
Probably Austin Bashi. I don't know. Something about Esteban I just don't trust getting the finish.
All right. So fisting of the week this week will be Austin Bashi to fist Jean Giannis on short notice. Oh man. Austin Bashi. Come on, man. Get back on track for us. Get the fisting of the week back on track. Because we lost it this past weekend, man. Carlos Leal, I don't know, dude. He just must have been hungry for a fist this past weekend, man.
He definitely went in eating a full fist, full knuckle sandwich with extra knuckles.
Yeah. Outside of power, are there any fighters with championship potential on this card. Let me check one more time. Bashy in the future, but we're a long way away from that still. So
Vallejos.
we'll have to see. Kevin Vallejos. The only issue that I see there, D Rose, is he's not the biggest 145 or 5'7" at 145. I mean, that's like Elia size, but yeah, you know, I don't think it's ideal, to be honest. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. If anyone, it's going to be someone at bantamweight or featherweight on here. You know, one of the lower weight class. I mean, that's pretty much all it's on this card. But I would say Bashy, Renya, Vallejos, or as you said, Taira. That's probably the only ones that I could see maybe in the future kind of making a title run. How about you, Dearest?
Yeah, I would say probably Vallejos. Yeah, as you said, maybe also Bashy. You got to keep an eye out for him. Probably. Yeah, that's probably it.
All right, fair enough. If you guys were fighters, would you take a fight on like 1 or 2 days notice weight class up? I don't know. I think it would depend on the matchup for sure. And then I think Taira will. That's fair. Antoine, what's going on, Jake? How you doing, brother? 100% be champion. That's fair. Just so Carlos Solberg versus Dominus Reyes Purse. Thoughts? I personally think that Carlos Solberg wins that very easily, but I know a lot of people are against me in the chat, to be honest, and you know, out there on Twitter, Instagram, and all that as well.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I mean, I do think Oldberg will be the favorite, but Reyes, he'll have a shot. But I do think that Oldberg probably will be at least a -200 favorite.
Fair enough. What's up, man? How you doing tonight, brother? And then Antoine wants to know what y'all's early lean on 322 Madalena versus Makhachev. I like Della, but that's just me.
Probably Islam, but dude, we got so much time before that fight. Anything could happen to influence our picks. So
yeah, man. But with that being said, that's going to be up from us here today. We're here for 2 minutes. I'm sorry, for 2 hours and 11 minutes. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys for stopping by here, hanging out with us here tonight on the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast number 169. Nice. With that being said, appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button on y'all's way out. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. But I will see you guys here Friday for Change the Cheddar. But until then, you guys stay safe. Don't be out there betting all the money on this fight card because this is an ass card. And we will catch you guys later. Peace.